Let's do some examples for the learning content confidence interval for population proportion. The first example, for a confidence level of 96%, find the critical value. So we know this mu p hat is a point estimate. So we know this middle part is 1 minus alpha is 96%, and both tails are half alpha, 0.02. Alpha is 4%. And we could get the z-score norm as inverse. So you get a norm as inverse 0.02, you get this number. So this negative z is a lower confidence limit. This critical value is a positive number. The second question, n is 180, p hat is 0.7. Find the margin of error. The confidence level is 90%. So this is the margin of error, this formula. So confidence level 90%, then you get the tail is, both tail is 0.05, then you get the z-score, and you get the critical value. So based on n and p hat, based on the margin of error, this formula, we could get the answer. So this is this times this. Okay, next one. So based on the confidence level 95%, we could get the critical value. And once we get the critical value, same as the last question, we could get the margin of error, this answer. So is a critical value times the square root p hat 1 minus p hat over n. The next question. Construct a 90% confidence interval. So we get the critical value. This z, the half alpha is 1.64. Then the margin of error we get is this based on this formula. And the confidence interval is lower bound p hat, the point estimate minus the margin of error, the lower bound. P hat plus this arrow is upper bound. So you just based on the formula this, and you get for this is p hat is here and minus critical value times this number. This is the lower bound, then the upper bound. We know p hat is x over n. So 83 divided by 100. Next question. 90% confidence level, then we get the critical value. And because this question doesn't give p hat 50%, 0.5, then you are able to do the question. So the error is given is 7%, 0.07. Then you based on this formula, you can get the n. So we get this answer. So p hat times 1 minus p hat, so 0.5 times 0.5 times this critical value divided by this arrow, and don't forget square. And the last question, 90% confidence interval, so half alpha is 0.01, then we get the critical value. And this one is same question type as the last one. So default p hat is 0.5. Then we could get the n. And be careful here, the sample size, your answer, and the last question, the answer, you have to round up. So 138, no matter what, here is even 0. Is not round off or round down, is round up. The answer is n is 139. This one is n is 846, round up. Let's do some summary. So for the sampling distribution of the sample proportion, the point estimate, p hat, so this is the sample proportion is x over n. X is the number of individuals in the sample and n is the sample size. And the confidence interval is based on the point estimate. So the level of confidence is denoted 1 minus alpha times 100%. So if the confidence level is 95%, alpha is 1 minus 95%, so alpha is 5%. And the confidence interval estimates for the population proportion is point estimate plus minus margin of error. Constructing the confidence interval for a population proportion. So we know this is a lower bound formula, this is the upper bound formula. And the margin of error, this is the formula. And the margin of error depends on 3 factors: level of confidence, sample size, and standard deviation of the population.